Gainbridge Fieldhouse was stacked.
We got some big wigs from the big city in the building. Spike Lee is here. Timothy Chalamet is here.
Halliburton's pops was finally back, and the Pacers had one mission.
Let's send these sons of bitches back to New York.
But before they could do that, they had one problem. New York showed up still riding the high of their Game 3 heist. And what came next was a gritty fight for control, toughness, and the soul of this series. The following is a full tactical breakdown of Game 4 and the chaotic firestorm that made every possession a fight for survival. All right, GOATs, today we've got an awesome sponsor, Prize Picks, the ultimate destination for daily fantasy sports. If you think you know ball and want to turn your pocket change into serious cash, then Prize Picks has you covered. Here's how it works. You pick 2 to 6 players, decide if they are going to have more or less on their projected stats, and boom, you're basically a sports stockbroker without the boring spreadsheets. And it's not just basketball. You can bet on baseball, MMA, golf. Heck, if they had competitive thumb wrestling, I'm sure they'd have that too. Sign up today at prizepicks.com or use code GOATED when you deposit $10. Play your first $5 and Prize Picks will hand you $50 instantly. Whether you win or lose, let's get paid. Coach Tibbs started the game going to OG to exploit the Nembhard mismatch. JB's dribble penetration after the screen rejection was generating good looks for New York to start.
Kicking it out, Bridges with a 3.
And on the other end, because of the Knicks switch heavy defense, Turner was a man amongst boys after the Bridges on the Halliburton pick and roll.
Neesmith an early touch. Turner inside, held, put it up, foul. Well, there's those switches again.
Of course, that blistering Pacers transition offense was a nightmare to defend. Even after scored baskets from the Knicks, pitch-ahead passes from Hallie had Coach Tibbs' defense constantly tilted.
Quickly the other way, back and forth we go.
With Brunson leaving Neesmith for an ill-advised help of Hallie, it was like shooting fish in a barrel for Aaron. Seeing Tyrese pushing in transition, Bridges decided to peel switch. But with OG not getting the memo on the fake DHO, it was target practice in Indiana. And Spike Lee was having PTSD on the bench.
Indiana 4-6-3.
Halliburton's rebounded the ball 3 times, and they've been able to push it and get great shots.
The response from Coach Tibbs was a Spain pick and roll for Brunson that ended in a lob for Robinson. Foul trouble has been a problem for Cat. And just halfway into the first, he had already picked up his second foul, which meant that New York was already down an important piece in this super crucial game. Josh Hart was the replacement, and immediately he came in and sped up New York's tempo.
What a feed by Hart, and over with the cut.
Just like we talked with Halliburton, the Knicks at their best when Josh Hart rebounds.
But with Cat now out, that Knicks interior defense became even weaker. JB kept representing for all the short kings in New York.
In the first, 3, Brunson, bucket.
Well, you definitely predicted this one, Nostradamus.
And as soon as Hallie got cross-matched off his easier assignment, the Hallie mismatch hunting began.
As Halliburton defends Bridges, count it, foul. Halliburton picks up number 1. Siakam will leave. Obi Toppin has come in. Bridges at the free throw line for New York.
So he returned the favor, hunting his own mismatch by forcing the Bridges-Robinson switch.
Robinson watching Halliburton. Puts on the brakes, finds again.
The speed with which Tyrese changes sides after a rebound is utterly unbelievable.
7 points for Indy. And the other way, Neesmith takes off. Played the entire fourth quarter the other night, knocked away by Siakam on the deflection. Got number 3-on-1, Halliburton to Toppin.
On the Brunson pick and roll, Siakam sank way too much in the gap, and JB made the right read. And on the DHO from Precious, he was turning that corner tightly to force the issue on the drive.
Brunson will wheel and fire on the flag. Wow.
Unfortunately for New York, it was all Indiana to end the first.
Halliburton with a 3 from way outside. Whoa. In the corner, Siakam. That's a 3.
They are wearing New York out in transition.
As the Pacers put up 43 huge first-quarter points in Gainbridge Fieldhouse, a Pacers franchise playoff record for points in a quarter. After an explosive and highly efficient first quarter, Indiana shooting a blistering 68% and New York at 57%, the Pacers opened the second, aggressively doubling Towns and forcing the Knicks to play through secondary options.
Saved by Hart. And off of Indiana, it's New York's ball.
On the other end, the Pacers were using their spacing to attack matchups. And even with McBride going under the Siakam screen, Mathurin still got to his spot. Both teams were finding some success in transition. The Knicks were attacking in early offense, and Towns was punishing Bradley from deep for giving him too much airspace. Meanwhile, TJ was pushing the pace and using a Bradley ball screen to split the Knicks' defense all the way to the cup. When the Pacers miscommunicated on defense, OG was quick to punish from the nail.
Anunoby, step back 19-footer.
But Shepard answered by reading Hart's ball watching perfectly and slipping backdoor.
Knicks are shooting 58%. Good feed, Shepard on the cut. And it came on top, down goes Shannon.
Fell on his tailbone.
Coach Tibbs was urging his team to keep up with the Pacers' pace.
Go jog. They're trying to catch us on the run. Sprint.
And after the break, Towns went bully ball, brushing off the late help and getting deep in the restricted area.
It's Towns with 2 fouls. Works it on Mathurin. And scoops it in with a reverse. Pretty play. 3 of 3 for Karl Anthony Towns.
But the Pacers kept loading up with aggressive doubles on both Towns and OG, and the Knicks responded by kicking it to the weak side for wide open looks. With Shepard dying on a Towns screen, OG attacked the space, going straight into Siakam.
Time to get Halliburton back in the ballgame.
Anunoby hard charging to the rack. Timeout. And we are tied at 51.
Meanwhile, Tyrese was walking into rhythm threes with the Knicks miscommunicating in transition. Still, the Big Meow stayed in attack mode, continuing to plow his way to the rim.
Turner there, bridges down, Towns driving, backed away, picks it up and back to go.
But on the other end, Turner was giving him his own treatment.
Playoffs and Turner with a nice twist and scooping it home.
And Indiana was turning that defense to offense.
Got numbers.
Halliburton underneath Siakam.
The Pacers were doing as much as possible to keep the ball in front of them, but OG was attacking the gap and driving to the rim.
Anunoby hard charging right to the hole. And a foul called, count it. Nembhard was in the way and picks it up, and he ties the game at 60.
On the other end, Halliburton's penetrations were bending the Knicks' help rotations, and Nembhard was taking full advantage. In this series, Cat and Brunson have a 134.4 defensive rating together in 65 minutes. And with Cat taking a breather, Brunson was absolutely getting destroyed.
Nesmith, collision inside on Brunson and kept the 2.
As Indiana closed out the half on a 6-0 run to take a 5-point lead, the pace in the first half had been absolutely dizzying, and Coach Carlisle began the third going at Cat, hoping to force him into committing another foul.
It's a shot by Siakam to get the second half underway here in downtown Indy.
Unfortunately, the Knicks' unforced turnovers made everything worse, fueling the Pacers' already juiced transition offense.
It was deflected and stolen. And it's a 2-on-1 with the trailer in Siakam.
That's been the story of the game so far. That's New York's 10th turnover.
An inverted pick and roll for Siakam forced Robinson to help off Turner, and the result was predictable. Coach Tibbs had to burn a timeout. The response out of the break was a dribble penetration from Bridges off the Robinson ball screen, with Towns attacking the closeout on the secondary action.
Right on track, and Bridges with a lot of traffic. Towns faking the 3 and a hard charge to the rack.
Unfortunately for New York, Brunson died on the Nesmith backdoor, and another wide open look in the most important game of the season so far. Coach Carlisle kept attacking Cat's slower foot speed with Siakam in isolation, and on the side of the court, the Big Meow counterpunched by bullying his way to the cup.
Behind the back to Towns in the switch with Nesmith now defending.
Are they going to count that?
I think they are. I think it's got to count. He gathered early. I mean, he took one dribble and gathered, yeah.
Nesmith had suffocated Brunson all game, but when he sat, Ben Shepard became the primary, and Brunson was having his way.
The difference with Shepard in Nesmith is Brunson can get space from Shepard. Has not been able to get that kind of space with Nesmith. Nesmith can stay attached.
Defensively, however, New York just had no answer for Halliburton taking the piss out there on the floor.
Halliburton was leaving for a free shot. Halliburton with a look-away feed for two inside to the newly instated Miles Turner.
Off the fake DHO, Turner got the step on Towns on the keeper play, and the quick dream shaken to the up and under was too much sauce even for me.
In the second half, Turner into Towns, shot clock at 4.
With Bridges getting dusted on the inverted pick and roll, the Red Sea opened up for Hallie. On the other end, he was making the right read, deciding to double Brunson with his back to the basket.
What aggression! Timeout Indiana with terrific defense.
In a game this important, you don't cheat the game. But that's exactly what the Knicks did with the TJ disrespect, and they got burnt.
Indiana, McConnell,
A total dare shot.
Despite the scoreboard, everything was now easy for Indiana. While the Knicks were clawing for every basket to keep it tight, Mathurin continued his redemption game after those tough 3 games to start the series.
Mathurin is in, got the feed, takes it to the rack. Foul, count it, to the line.
And who else to finish the quarter strong than Tyrese punishing JB for stepping off of him from his favorite spot on the court.
Shot clock at 3, Halliburton for 3.
Well, that was deep, but Brunson backed up.
102-91, an 11-point Indiana lead going into the final stretch. The final frame opened with Indiana's bench still firing, TJ McConnell still getting right to his sweet spot. Poor communication on defense was killing the Knicks. TJ finding a cutting Mathurin off the sideline inbound, but with a down screen from McBride, Shamet was getting that separation to launch from deep. The Pacers were sticking to single coverage on defense, and it was working.
With a dive, Shepard the rebound. McConnell on the move. Mathurin, corner, Siakam, 3.
Coming into this game, the fast break points were 43-14 in favor of the Pacers, and the Knicks still hadn't adjusted. OG was doing all he could to keep the Knicks on life support.
Turner was right there defensively. Hartwell collected. Shot clock at 3. Anunoby long shot.
He's made a couple of those in this series.
And after a 3-minute drought from the field, the Pacers ran a stagger screen for Tyrese, who punched the gap all the way to the cup. OG was the release valve on the short roll, but the Pacers were doing everything possible not to give the Knicks momentum.
And thrown down like a rag doll, Halliburton got a hold of Anunoby.
But on the other end, when OG collapsed inside to help, Siakam made him pay, getting the open look from deep. The Knicks still had no answers for Halliburton's penetrations inside.
Halliburton weaving, driving, scoring!
And Indiana's defense was putting on a clinic with full rotations and full effort.
Cross-court Anunoby. In, up, off. And an offensive foul called on Anunoby.
When it mattered most, the Knicks bet on Bridges instead of Brunson, and it was more heartbreak.
Brunson a look. It's Bridges. It's a 3. Rebound Halliburton.
The Knicks miscommunicated once again on defense, and with Toppin getting left open, it was all said and done for the Knicks.
Goes on top. It's Toppin for 3. Good! The Indiana Pacers are 1 win away from the NBA Finals.
Tyrese Halliburton dropped a 32-point triple-double without a single turnover, leading the Pacers past the Knicks for a 3-1 series lead. It's now do or die for New York in Game 5.